So what's up? What's up? So hit that like button always. So you ever see something before and it just doesn't make any sense, and but as it goes on, as time goes on, it adds up, and then the pieces to the puzzle connect, and then you're like, okay, that's what that was. So about a year ago, when Meek Mill started hanging around Robert Kraft, the Patriots owner, has been the owner for like 25 years, conservative, white, old, typical white American billionaire in his 80s, Trump supporter, donated over $1 million to the Trump campaign, and all of a sudden Meek Mill gets out of jail early and he's hanging out with Robert Kraft. And then Robert Kraft is hanging out with Gucci Man and Cardi B, and he's dancing with Cardi B at the Super Bowl Pepsi pre-show last year. And you're like, okay, this is kind of weird, but you knew something was funny about it. And apparently Robert Kraft and Meek Mill were doing this prison reform thing, and he helped me get out early along with Jay-Z. And then, unless you've been living under the rock, now Jay-Z took most of the slack for the NFL deal, where the NFL is going to try to do something with hip hop. Kind of like the NBA's always embraced hip hop. The NFL's always been about the shield. They never really felt the need to embrace hip hop. The closest they've come to that is having hip hop music played in the background on Madden, because the NFL's never really needed it. Now, to me, the NFL is using hip hop as a scapegoat for PR purposes to try to clean up their image so that they can win back those black folks and people who decide to stop watching them due to Kaepernick. Now you got other people like Michelle Beadle who decided to stop watching the NFL because she felt like they didn't take domestic violence seriously. That's a whole other thing. It's a number of issues the NFL's trying to fix PR wise, but this is one of them. And they feel like if they get hip hop on their side, they can win black folks back. And it's ironic that Meek Mill is going to headline this NFL kickoff experience show in Chicago next week on the 5th with some white girl, Megan something, I don't know, and Rapsody. So it's all making sense now. Why Robert Kraft was hanging with Gucci, and they were all in cahoots the whole time. That deal with Jay-Z didn't happen overnight. This was a year and a half in the making, at the least. Robert Kraft didn't wake up one day and it says, I'm going to hang out with Meek Mill. And no, Robert Kraft up until this point had never showed any interest in hip hop. The only interesting, cool thing about Robert Kraft was the sneakers he used to wear, the Air Force Ones, the red, white, and blue joints and shit. He never really had any interest. Put it like this, they've won 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. They've had Snoop, Rick Ross, and famous rappers, perform at the ring ceremonies. When they won that first Super Bowl in 2001, there was no hip-hop acts. Willie McGinnis will tell you that. All of a sudden now, Robert Kraft is embracing hip-hop, and it's all about the NFL cleaning up their image and using hip-hop as, for good PR purposes. And Meek Mill, obviously, he's got to return the favor. They helped him rejuvenate his career and get him out of jail and whatnot. And now he's got to pay back the favor, and he's got to, do this deal with the NFL. Now, are people going to react to Meek Mill the same way that they did with Kaepernick? I don't know. I doubt it, because he's not the one who told you, let's move on from kneeling. And he's not the one who, Jay took most of the blame for that. So I don't think Meek's going to get the same kind of backlash that Jay got, nor should Rapsody. But some people are going to call it a spade and say, fuck you, you sold out too. But Meek Mill never told you to boycott the NFL. Jay-Z did that, But yeah, this is all making sense now. It's all coming together. You're like, okay, now this makes a lot of sense. I see exactly what's going on now, and why Robert Kraft, this conservative, Trump supporter, from Boston, Meek's from Philly. They have nothing in common other than probably their love for football. But they don't even root for the same teams. Meek's an Eagles fan, but now it makes sense. So this was a seed that was planted over a year ago, and now you're starting to see that flower blossom. So Meek Mill is gonna be the headliner, and you're gonna see more rappers come out and do more, concerts and stuff like that. Because it's bigger than just Jay-Z. They're trying to get the entire hip-hop community involved with the NFL. And if you notice, they've been doing a lot of damage control. The hip-hop community has been very supportive of Jay-Z on radio, Breakfast Club, Big Boy, you name it. Uncle Luke came out and supported him. Jeezy supports him. Angie Martinez, T.I. and Diddy was on Instagram posting memes of a list with a bunch of shit that Jay's done for the community. I'm like, okay, what has he done for his community? Because, I mean, come on. You know, they just had Marcy Day 2 weeks ago. Was he out there? You know what I'm saying? That's like when Oprah, who's from Chicago, born and raised or whatever, opens up a school in fucking South Africa, and Chicago's got public schools shutting down left and right. You know, it's like cutting your neighbor's yard and your grass is knee high. It just doesn't make any sense. You take care of yours first, don't you? It's all damage control for that, for Jay. And like I say, it's a big win for hip hop as far as exposure, being you know, in deals with the NFL. But does it really do anything for black folks? No. You know, because last I checked, you know, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers weren't the ones walking around with blue, you know, uniforms and badges killing black on, you know, unarmed men for no reason. You know, you can't blame police brutality on the NFL. You know, Colin Kaepernick addressed that issue, and he used the NFL's platform to address that issue. But the NFL is not responsible for what these police officers are doing out here on these streets every day. But yeah. So this was just interesting to me because I was like, okay, now everything is all the pieces to the puzzle is very clear now. Because we always wanted to know what the fuck is Robert Kraft hanging out with all these niggas, and now it makes sense. So let me know what y'all think, man. Hit that like button, comment, all of that good shit. I don't care what you got to say. You can say whatever the fuck you want to say, man. Just say something. Fuck it.